Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. Luke snorts at his screen and shoves his plate away. The laugh is sharp, mean, not his usual goofy laugh. He turns the phone so his sister can see the meme. They both crack up and I already feel my jaw tighten. I am Emily, 38, and I know that laugh now. It is the sound they use when they test the fence. Back then I told myself I was imagining it. Now I know it was the first warning shot that night. Phones away while we eat. I reach for the salt. I keep my tone level like this is normal house stuff. My hand shakes a little, which irritates me more. I do not want them to see that tremor at all. Relax, it's funny. Luke shields the screen with his arm. My husband looks up, then looks back at his plate. That tiny move lands harder than any shout could. He is already choosing not to get caught in this. What's the joke? I hold out my hand for the phone. My voice comes out flatter than I planned. Hannah smirks and leans in closer to her brother. If she sees it, she will freak out again. Again, that word hits like a slap to the chest. I replay the day in my head and fast forward. Did I freak out at anything today? Did I miss something? I still keep my hand out, palm up, fingers stiff. Luke finally turns the phone toward me in one quick motion. On the screen there is a picture of a cartoon family. Real mom is glowing, stepmom is drawn like a villain. The caption says something about dad's new babysitter. It is stupid internet humor, I know that. Kids share worse things in bathrooms every single day. Still, my face burns while I stare at the caption. I can feel them studying me, waiting for a reaction. That's enough. I place the phone beside my plate. Not gentle, not hard, just enough to make it clear. Phone, stay here till we finish eating dinner. My husband shifts in his chair, but he stays quiet. Luke leans back, folds his arms across his chest. So what, you can't take a joke now? He does not look 12 in that moment, he looks older. Like someone rehearsing lines for a fight he wants. It is not about the joke. I pick up my fork. I aim for calm, not lecture, just simple. It is about respect while we share a meal. The word respect hangs there like a dare between us. Respect who exactly? Hannah asks it without blinking. She pushes her peas around, slow and deliberate. If we were with our actual mom, this would be fun. Her eyes flick at me, quick slice, then back to her plate. There it is, the line they have been circling all week. I feel everything in me go tight, shoulders, throat, jaw. For a second I almost pretend I did not hear it. You know that trick, if I ignore it maybe it dies. My husband finally clears his throat, a small rough sound. Hey, that is enough. He aims the words at the table. Not at anyone in particular, which means at no one really. Luke's mouth curls like he just won something big. You're not my real mother anyway, he throws it out. Not a scream, not even loud, just clear and steady. He keeps his eyes on his plate while he says it. That almost hurts more than if he had yelled in my face. Time does a weird stretch in that second, cliché move. My brain jumps to every early morning ride and late pickup. Every science project I tape together on the living room floor. Then it slams back to this table, this boy, this sentence. I hear my own voice in my head saying stay calm. I grew up around people who shouted first and thought later. I promised myself I would never run a house like that. So I grip the edge of my chair till my nails sting. I heard you, my voice sounds strange, almost not mine. I take a breath that feels too shallow, too fast. You do not talk to me like that in this house. I am proud and terrified in the same heartbeat. Luke finally looks at me, eyes wide but not sorry. So what, I am lying now? He nudges Hannah's foot. Do I have to pretend things that are not true? He says it like he is the one under attack. Hannah laughs short and sharp, then bites her lip. That meme was dead accurate, that is all. She glances at our dad, searching for backup. He stares at his plate like it might save him. In that moment, I want him to slam his hand down. Say one clear thing like knock it off right now. Instead, he gives me a helpless look across the table. I feel something in my chest drop through the floor. Luke, my husband, finally uses his name with a warning. That is enough for tonight, eat your dinner. He sounds tired, not firm, like this is a long day only. It is not enough, not even close, and everyone knows it. I could walk away, I think that for a second. Stand up, take my keys, drive somewhere, anywhere. Let them stare at the empty chair and figure it out. But I stay seated, stubborn, because leaving feels like losing. You are right, the words come out before I plan them. Both kids go still, even my husband glances up quick. You do have a mother already, I am not Repel. Acing her. I watch their faces, I watch how they jump on that. So you admit it, Luke leans forward over his plate. You are not our mom, you just live here. There is triumph in his eyes, bright and almost childish. He has no idea what game he just started. Back then I thought that if I used logic I might win. If I kept things calm, if I stayed reasonable and measured. Now I see how naive that was in this specific moment. They were not arguing facts, they were pushing me out. We are done talking about this at dinner, my fork scrapes. The sound makes every nerve in my body jump. Finish eating, then you can take your phones upstairs. My jaw aches from holding back 100 other words. No one speaks for several bites, just the clink of silverware. Hannah wipes her mouth slow like she is on stage. If we were with Mom, we would be laughing right now. She says it soft, but it lands like a final punch. My husband closes his eyes for a second, then opens them. He mutters that he will call their mother later to talk. Not about this, I know, just about the schedule and rides. I realize I am the only adult actually bleeding in this scene. I clear the plates earlier than usual, movements clipped. Luke snatches his phone back the second mine turns away. Hannah follows him out of the room without a word. Their footsteps pound up the stairs like a retreat and a victory. At the sink my hands finally start to shake properly. I brace myself against the counter and breathe in bursts. I tell myself it is just one ugly dinner, kids say things. But deep down I know we crossed a line we will not uncross. Hannah drags a red marker across the fridge calendar. 3 lopsided hearts appear on the second Sunday in May. She steps back, caps the marker with a little snap. That is for her, she mutters almost under her breath. I freeze with a grocery bag balanced on my hip. For a second I hope she means me and hate that hope. You know that tiny jump in your chest you pretend not to feel. I set the bag down too hard and the jars rattle. What's the occasion? My voice comes out lighter than I feel. Hannah glances at me, then stares straight at the calendar again. Mother's Day, she says, slow like she is testing the words. She adds MOM under the hearts in thick letters. Luke appears behind her and whistles under his breath. Nice, she is going to lose it when she sees. He taps the square, grinning, buzzing with real excitement. None of that buzz is aimed at me, and I know it. You two planning something special? I reach for another bag. It is a normal question on the surface, totally ordinary. Inside I already know the answer, but I ask anyway. Sometimes we walk right into hurt just to confirm it. Yeah, Luke pulls out his phone and unlocks it fast. We are taking her to brunch, she loves that kind of thing. He scrolls through something, smiling at whatever he sees. Hannah leans in and they shoulder me out of the circle. I stand there like I walked into the wrong room. I can drive you if you need a ride, I offer. Old reflex, automatic problem solving, no thought required. Hannah laughs once short, sharp, like I told a weird joke. She is picking us up, she says, eyes still on the screen. We want it to be just us and her this year. She draws a tiny crown over the word MOM. The crown feels like a knife, which sounds dramatic but still. My husband walks in, juggling keys and an envelope. He stops when he sees the hearts, smile breaking over his face. Mother's Day planning already, look at you two. He kisses the top of Hannah's head and ruffles Luke's hair. I wait for the turn the moment he looks my way. He does eventually, like an afterthought, like a reminder. Maybe we can all do something later too, he adds. That last word hangs there, flimsy and empty promise. Mom deserves a real day this year, Luke cuts in. None of that awkward split stuff, she has been through enough. He says it like there is a jury listening from the hallway. I can feel where he wants that sentence to land. I swallow the first reply that claws its way up. You know the one, the quick defensive speech that solves nothing. Instead I grab the last bag from the counter and rip it open. A jar nearly slips and I grab it so tight my wrist aches. You should tell me what time you are leaving, I manage. Just so I know when you will be back. The practical part of my brain keeps talking on autopilot. The rest of me feels like it stepped out of my body. We will be gone most of the day, Hannah chimes in. Brunch, then maybe the park, maybe a movie if she wants. She lists it out like a schedule, not even looking at me. Each extra plan feels like another door closing. My husband clears his throat, eyes flicking between us. Why don't you check in with me tonight, he tells them. We will figure out the rest of the weekend schedule then. He avoids saying the words mother. Stay again and we all notice. Later that night I catch them in the hallway whispering. They are hunched over Luke's phone, thumbs flying, faces bright. Every few seconds one of them glances toward the living room. Whenever I shift on the couch, they go quiet. Menu looks amazing, Hannah giggles then lowers her tone. She is going to freak when she sees all of us there. All of us, that phrase lodges in my throat like food. I am sitting 15 feet away and I do not exist. You two almost done with homework, I call out too loud. They jump then shuffle further down the hall, away from sight. Yeah, we are talking about assignments, Luke answers quickly. The lie is thin, brittle, and nobody cares enough to hide it well. In the bathroom, I lean on the sink and stare at nothing. Back then, I kept telling myself not to overreact to every slight. I knew divorce made kids cling to anything that felt solid. I just did not realize solid meant building a pedestal out of me. The morning of Mother's Day starts weirdly quiet. No crashing around, no cereal bowls, no cartoons blaring. I wake up before everyone and stand in the kitchen alone. The hearts on the calendar stare back like they are watching me. I make coffee and then just hold the mug without drinking. Part of me wants to bake something, do the cheery mom routine. Another part feels done playing that role for people who reject it. I end up doing nothing, which somehow feels like the loudest choice. Footsteps thump down the stairs, light, quick, excited. Hannah comes in first, hairstyled, lip gloss carefully applied. She spins once in front of the microwave door like it is a mirror. Do I look okay? She asks, almost forgetting who she is asking. You look nice, I tell her, throat tightening around the words. She nods briskly and reaches for her bag on the chair. There is a card tucked half out of it, big letters spelling mom. She fumbles it deeper inside, like she is hiding contraband. Luke barrels in next, buttoning his shirt crooked as usual. He spots my coffee and glances at the empty table. You are not making breakfast, he sounds more surprised than annoyed. I shrug and watch him process that tiny shift in routine. Figured you had big plans, I answer, trying to keep it light. No point in cooking if you're leaving right away. He shrugs back, mirroring me without even realizing it. Then he digs around in his backpack and pulls out a small box. Check this out, he says to Hannah, not to me. He lifts the lid a little, just enough for her to peek. She gasps and grabs his arm, grinning like a little kid. That is perfect, she is going to cry, she whispers. My husband finally appears, tying his shoes, checking his watch. Car will be here in 10, he mutters more to himself. He looks at me, really looks like he is checking for damage. Happy Mother's Day, he adds softly, almost apologetic. The words land in the middle of all that buzzing preparation. I wait for the kids to echo him, even just out of reflex. They do not, and the silence after that wish feels brutal. He notices too, shoulders tensing, jaw working like he might speak. I beat him to it because I hate pity more than anything. Thanks, I answer, forcing a small smile that hurts my cheeks. You guys have fun today, I add, nodding toward the door. I sound like a neighbor, not someone who lives inside this story. A car horn chirps outside, short and impatient. Hannah bolts for the hallway, Luke right behind her. They trip over each other, grabbing shoes, bags, carefully wrapped gifts. Their energy fills the space and pushes me to the edges. I stay in the kitchen and pretend to tidy the counter. From there I can see the front door and nothing else. The door swings open and their mother appears like she owns the scene. I do not move closer, I do not step out to greet anyone. Look at you two, her voice breezes in from the doorway. My babies all dressed up for their mom. They rush toward her, arms full, faces bright, voices overlapping. None of that sound is meant to reach me, but it does. We got you something amazing, Luke boasts from the hallway. And we booked that place you love, it took forever. There is pride in his tone, like he passed some loyalty test. My name stays completely absent, which is kind of the point. My husband hovers near the doorway, caught between zones. He leans toward her, says something low I cannot quite catch. Then he glances back at me, just once, eyes full of apology. He does not invite me over, and that choice screams louder than words. The kids tumble out past him, laughing and jostling. Hannah glances back into the house for half a second. Her eyes meet mine across that stretch of floor and air. She does not smile, she just closes the door behind her. The quiet that follows is thick but not peaceful at all. I top off my coffee even though I still have half a mug. I grab a sponge and SCR. Up a perfectly clean spot on the counter. When that fails to distract me, I turn to the calendar. Those hearts look childish up close, uneven, a little messy. The word under them is heavy, loud, taking up the whole square. I do not cross anything out, I am not that dramatic. Instead, I pick a pen and write work above the box in tiny letters. It is a lie, but in that moment it feels like survival. If this day belongs exclusively to someone else in this house, then I will give myself a different label just to stay upright. I had no idea that tiny act would come back to bite us all later. A notification pops and Hannah's laptop lights up on the couch. I almost keep walking past it, almost mind my own business. Then another alert flashes with her name and 3 fire emojis. I stop behind the couch and my stomach does that slow roll. I tell myself I am just checking if it is school related. That is the lie I grab in the first 2 seconds. The chat window is already open, no password, nothing blocked. My hand rests on the back of the couch and will not move. At the top I see a group title with 4 little icons. One is Hannah, one is Luke, one is their mother. The last one is a friend of Hannah's from down the street. I feel the air leave my chest in one rough push. New messages jump up while I stand there reading. Hannah types first. I swear she wrote this exact sentence to my face later. On the screen it says, I am done pretending she is mom too. The friend answers with 3 laughing faces and a skull. Stepmom vibes are off, she writes, then adds, majorly controlling. Luke chimes in next with a photo of the fridge calendar. He zoomed in on the Mother's Day hearts and the word work. She wrote this on that day like she is some martyr. His line sits under the picture with another emoji string. Dad's wife acts like we owe her a parade. I read that one twice, like maybe it will change. Their mother appears next with a short reply. Of course you do not owe her anything, she types. She is an extra adult in the house, that is all. I do not know why that sentence stings more than the jokes. I can feel my pulse hammer in my ears while I scroll. Part of me wants to slam the laptop shut and walk away. Another part keeps drinking the poison, one message at a time. You ever do that? Keep reading what you know will hurt worse. Hannah drops another message, longer, rushed, full of energy. She was mad we went with you on Mother's Day. She tried to act cool, but you could tell she hated it. I picture myself that morning with the sponge and the calendar. Their mother answers faster now, like she has been waiting. She is jealous because you two are loyal to me, she writes. She knew the deal when she married your dad, remember that. I stare at that line and feel something heavy shift inside. Luke adds a photo from the dinner earlier that week. Not of us together, just a blurry shot of my face. I am reaching for his phone in the picture, eyes tight. He captioned it, when the substitute teacher thinks she runs class. The friend reacts with more emojis and a you have to clap back. Next time she pulls that crap, say it out loud, she adds. Tell her she is just your father's roommate who cooks, another message. My hands start to tingle, like my body is trying to shut down. I should stop there, any adult would tell you that much. Put the device down, respect privacy, walk out of the room. Instead, I keep scrolling because now I need to know everything. Once you cross that line, it is almost impossible to step back. Further up, I find them planning the dinner where Luke snapped. Hannah wrote, if she starts the phone rule again, I dare you. Then Luke, I will drop the real mother line for sure. He added a little sword emoji after it, and now I understand. I always thought that moment at the table just exploded. Now I am watching the match they lit 2 days earlier. They rehearsed my humiliation like a small theater project. It hits me that I have been walking through their rehearsals blind. Another message from their mother appears as I scroll back down. If she upsets you at graduation, you come stand by me. Do not let her push into our photos, not this time. There it is, a future scene laid out without my knowledge. My vision blurs for a second and the words smear. I blink hard and they sharpen again, which almost feels worse. I scroll slower now, looking for any sign of hesitation. I do not find much, just a few weak, maybe replies from Hannah. In one thread, Hannah complains about chores and my rules. She treats us like we are little, she writes to the group. And she acts like she is sacrificing everything for us. I can almost hear her tone in my head while I read it. Their mother jumps in again, familiar rhythm, easy charm. She wants credit for basic kindness, she writes, that is wild. Do not give her that power, she is just passing through. GH. That last part hits me right behind the ribs, hard and clean. I am not proud of what I do next, not at all. I grab my phone, hands unsteady, and snap a few pictures. Screens full of texts, names, little profile icons, all of it. The sound of the shutter feels too loud in the quiet room. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Any second I expect Hannah to burst in and catch me. It would be ugly, and maybe I even deserve that confrontation. Instead, the house stays still and the laptop keeps glowing. Another notification pops up right while I hover there. A brand new line from Luke appears at the bottom. Next time she plays Mom, I will tell her straight, it reads. She is a guest who stayed too long, that is it. Hannah replies with a string of clapping hands and hearts. Please do it at graduation, she writes, that would be iconic. Their mother reacts with a laughing emoji and a crown. That tiny digital crown hurts almost more than the words. In that moment, something in me goes oddly quiet. Anger drops under a layer of cold clarity, if that makes sense. The story I had in my head about us cracks in one move. I realize they are not just lashing out, they are building a case. I close the laptop slowly, careful not to leave any sign. My hand lingers on the lid a second too long before lifting. I sit down on the edge of the couch because my legs feel weak. It is like the entire house tipped sideways and I am still inside. Out in the hallway, I hear Luke's voice float toward me. Where is my laptop? He calls, not sounding worried yet. In here, I answer, trying to smooth my tone into something flat. My tongue feels thick and my throat burns like I swallowed smoke. He steps into the room and spots the computer on the cushion. Cool, we are working on a project, he explains automatically. His eyes flick to my face for half a second, quick searching. For once, I am grateful for all the practice holding a neutral mask. You two should not leave school stuff open, I tell him. Anyone could mess with your work or your accounts. I hear my own voice and it sounds distant like a recording. He nods and scoops up the laptop, fingers already moving. Hannah appears behind him with a charger wrapped around her hand. Both of them hover there, the air weird, stiff, full of static. Everything okay? She asks, watching me a little too closely. It feels like everyone in the room knows something except me. Fine, I answer, and the word tastes like metal on my tongue. I am going to start dinner, you two handle your assignments. I stand up slowly so I do not sway in front of them. As I walk past, my phone feels heavy in my pocket with those images. Back then, I still thought screenshots would solve everything later. Proof felt like power, a way to finally win an argument. Now I know proof just blows up whatever pieces are left. And I had no idea yet how far they were willing to push. The zipper jams halfway and Luke is already yelling upstairs. Do not burn the gown, he stomps like the floor offended him. I tug the zipper loose and smooth the fabric with my palm. My stomach is tight and it is not because of the steam. He bursts into the room without knocking, tassels swinging in circles. You wrinkled it already, he groans, grabbing at the hanger. It just came out, I answer, trying to keep my tone steady. He yanks it away like I might ruin it on purpose. You are welcome, slips out before I can catch it. He freezes for a heartbeat, then pretends he did not hear. Where are my tickets? He asks, digging through a pile of mail. The extra ones, I need all of them for today. I pull the envelope from the counter and hold it up. 2 for us, 2 for your mom, I remind him calmly. He straightens, eyes sharp, that same practiced teenage anger. She needs 3 now, her sister is coming too. The room tilts a little because I did not expect that. There are only 4, I say, counting them in my hand. I checked twice when they came home from school. He rolls his eyes so hard it almost looks painful. Then you just do not go, he tosses out like nothing. You already know everything they are going to say anyway. He shrugs, trying to make it casual, but his jaw tightens. I want my whole family there like everyone else. That sentence lands hard because I know exactly who he means. I also hear myself from earlier chapters of this mess. Always choosing calm, always smoothing, always swallowing the insult. This time I just stare at him for a few seconds. Your father and I are both attending, I answer slowly. This is not optional for us, we planned around it. He clicks his tongue and looks at his phone like I am noise. I will figure something out with mom then, do not worry. He snatches the envelope from my fingers and stomps away. I let it go because if I fight now we both explode. Downstairs I hear him calling their mother, voice lig. Tur already. He laughs at something and that laugh is not for me. I grab my own bag and double-check the things inside. Not because I am an overplanner, though I am. Because I know if I forget even one small thing, it will be used later as proof that I overestimated my role. In the car, my husband keeps adjusting the mirror. He glances at me, opens his mouth, shuts it again. You okay? He finally asks, fingers tight around the wheel. I look out the window instead of at his worried face. I saw the tickets, I answer, voice low and clipped. You gave 2 of ours to her, did you? He exhales slowly, like he practiced this conversation before. She called the office and got an extra one herself. So why did Luke ask for more from here? I push. The question hangs between us with nowhere safe to land. My husband drums his fingers once, then grips the wheel again. He wanted his aunt there, they are all going together. Meaning what? I ask, even though I already understand it. Meaning one car pulling up like the main act. Meaning another car full of people who pay the bills. Only one of those groups gets framed as the real family. We will still be there, he insists, voice almost gentle. We will sit close, we will cheer, we are involved. I nod, but my chest feels empty and tight at once. Involve is such a strange word when you share a roof. When we reach the school, the parking lot is chaos. Students weaving through cars, parents shouting directions, hats everywhere. My husband grabs the foldable chairs we brought from the trunk. I end up carrying Luke's phone and wallet in my hands. Luke rushes up to us already halfway in his gown. He is buzzing with nervous excitement, eyes bright, smile wide. For a second, an actual second, I just see the kid. The one who used to fall asleep in front of cartoons. Can you hold this? He asks, shoving his keys at me. Do not drop them, I need them afterward. I close my fingers around everything he piles into my arms. It is like my official job title is mobile storage unit. His tassel keeps hitting his face as we walk toward the field. He keeps fixing it and cursing under his breath. Do not swear in front of the teachers, I remind him gently. He snorts and looks around for his friends instead of answering. We reach the entrance to the fenced field and pause. A volunteer checks tickets and points us to the metal bleachers. You two head to the stands, Luke says, bouncing lightly. Mom's meeting us by the stage for pictures. There it is again, that invisible wall around the word. It slices the air every time he says it now. My husband hesitates and looks at me, trying to read my mood. I force my shoulders back like armor and nod once. Go meet your mother, I tell Luke, each word careful. We will find seats and keep your stuff safe. He nods quickly, barely listening, already scanning the crowd. Then he spots her and his whole body changes. She waves from near the stage steps, looking completely at ease. Hannah stands next to her, already in full big sister mode. They beckon Luke over like part of some rehearsed scene. The 3 of them huddle, laughing, heads tipped together. I watch them through the fence while people shove past us. It hits me that I am experiencing my own life like a spectator. My husband squeezes my shoulder once, a small awkward gesture. Come on, he murmurs, let us sit before everything fills up. We climb the bleachers and find two spots near the middle. From there I can see the stage clearly and also the crowd. I spot the kids and their mother shifting into photo positions. A photographer adjusts his camera and waves them a little closer. Look proud, she tells Luke, fixing his tassel just right. Big moment, remember who got you here. He laughs and throws an arm around her and Hannah both. They look like an advertisement for a happy blended nothing. Want me to take one with your phone? My husband calls down. He stands halfway between our seats and the aisle, arm raised. She glances up then down, smile tight, eyes sharp. Oh, we are good, thank you, we have plenty. He freezes there for an odd beat, then gives a small nod. He pockets his phone and climbs back up beside me. That was weird, he mutters, trying to play it off. I do not answer because the words sitting in my mouth burn. Announcements crackle over the speakers and families settle down. I keep Luke's phone and keys clutched in one hand. The screen lights with notification after notification, all from her. Every buzz reminds me exactly where I rank in this show. They start calling names and the crowd cheers and waves. When Luke walks across the stage, my throat tightens hard. I clap until my hands sting, shouting his name with everything. I glance over and see his mother recording on her phone, smiling. He does not look up at us in the stands at all. He heads straight off the stage and right toward her. She ips his shoulders, says something that makes him grin. Hannah wipes her face, laughing and crying all at once. After the ceremony, everyone spills out onto the field. Parents swarm their kids, cameras held high, voices loud. I tuck Luke's phone and wallet into my bag for safety. Then we weave down the bleachers and step through the gate. Let us find him before they leave, my husband says quickly. I can hear the panic in his voice under the fake cheer. We push through clusters of gowns and proud relatives. Everywhere I turn, someone is hugging someone in a real way. I spot Luke first, standing near a banner with his mother. Her sister blocks part of my view, holding up her phone. They are cycling through poses, goofy faces, group shots, everything. Hannah notices us approaching and her smile drops a notch. Hey, my husband calls out over the noise, waving an arm. Luke turns, sees us, eyes flicking down to my bag. Do you have my phone? He asks as we reach them. No hi, no hug, just that one practical question. I hand him the phone and wallet without comment. He barely looks at me while he stuffs them in pockets. Okay, one more with all of us, his mom chirps gleefully. She gestures to the banner, gathering them back together again. I step slightly to the side so we are not in the way. My husband moves closer, trying to read the situation. Let us grab a family picture too, he suggests, forcing a grin. He extends his arm toward Luke almost like an invitation. Yeah, we are doing that right now, Luke answers quickly. With family, Hannah adds, eyes cutting toward me and away. His mother stays silent, but her lips press together with satisfaction. The photographer lifts the camera again, ready to capture this. I know what is happening before the words even land. I know because I saw the plan in that group chat. Still, hearing it out loud hits on a whole different level. Luke turns to me, face set, voice steady. Can you step back a bit? He asks, not unkind, just firm. This is just for us and Mom and Aunt Kelly. He gestures to the side of the crowd like I am blocking a view. My husband blinks like he misheard his own child. You mean all of us, my husband corrects gently, brows pulled tight. Your stepmom too, we are all here together today. He puts a hand on my back like we are one unit. Luke shakes his head once, stubborn, jaw locked in place. It is weird, he blurts, cheeks flushing with sudden color. It is my graduation, I just want my actual parents first. Hannah nods so fast her ponytail bounces up and down. Yeah, we promised Mom the first picture would be just us. I feel every pair of eyes on my face in that moment. Her sister looks me up and down and then away. Their mother keeps her gaze firmly on Luke, not on me. She does not need to speak, the kids are doing her work. If you want more photos later, we can do some, Luke adds. He sounds like he is offering a favor to a neighbor. You know that hollow feeling when someone downgrades you mid-sentence? That is exactly where I am standing on that field holding my breath. I wait for my husband to put his foot down properly. Not soft, not half-hearted, actually draw a line for once. He opens his mouth, looks at Luke, looks at me. I watch the calculation behind his eyes in real time. Take the picture, I hear myself say before he chooses. The words shock even me, they come out cool and sharp. I am going to grab the car and beat the traffic. My heart pounds so hard my hands feel numb. You do not have to go, my husband protests quickly. He catches my wrist but not tightly enough to stop me. His voice cracks in the middle of the sentence and that hurts. Because now I am the dramatic one if I stay or leave. Luke looks relieved, which pretty much tells the whole story. Thanks, he says, almost polite, already turning back toward them. He throws an arm over his mother's shoulders for the shot. The photographer counts down and they all beam on cue. I step backward into the crowd, not trusting my legs much. People bump into me, kids shout, phones flash everywhere. The noise blurs, but I can still spot our small group. They lean together for a silly pose, like I never existed. Halfway to the parking lot, my eyes finally start burning. I blink fast because I refuse to cry in the open. My hand shakes as I unlock the car and slide inside. For a second I just stare at the steering wheel, breathing wrong. Here is the part I am not proud of again. I pull out my phone and open the screenshot folder. The chat threads glow on the screen, stiff proof in rows. I scroll to the message about graduation pictures, exactly as planned. If she upsets you at graduation, you come stand by me. Do not let her into our photos, not this time. I read those 2 lines again while their fresh picture forms outside. It feels like the universe shaking my shoulders and saying, wake up. I could leave right and not answer my husband's calls. Drive somewhere empty, scream into the dashboard, whatever. Instead, I sit there and wait for my phone to buzz. Because as much as I hate it, I still want his side. 15 minutes later, the passenger door opens without warning. He drops into the seat and closes it a little too hard. They took a bunch, he mutters, staring straight ahead. Then they realized you were gone and Luke looked weird. Weird how? I ask, still watching the windshield, not his face. My voice comes out quieter than I intend, almost flat. He rubs his forehead with his thumb like he has a headache. Guilty, he answers after a long beat. He looked guilty. Good, I think, which is petty and human and real. Out loud I say nothing and start the engine instead. The car fills with that thick silence that makes every sound louder. He lets it sit for a while, then finally speaks again. You did not deserve that, he says, voice low and rough. You put in years, more than anyone gives you credit for. His hand lands on my knee, warm and hesitant, testing the water. I stare at it and my chest tightens in something like grief. I saw their messages, I answer, because this is the moment. All of them, the group chat with her and Hannah and Luke. His hand snaps back like my skin burned him where it lay. He turns to me fully, eyes blown wide with shock. When, he asks, half whisper, half demand, throat working hard. Before today, before the ceremony, when did you see that? So this will sound familiar to you, I answer, pulling my phone. I open the gallery and hold it up between us like a mirror. He scrolls through the screenshots in stunned silence for a while. His jaw clenches and unclenches, breath getting shorter with each swipe. Every so often he mutters a curse under his breath, quick and vicious. When he reaches the graduation picture plan, he closes his eyes. They were planning it, I remind him, even though he can see. They practiced the exact way they would cut me out. My hands are steady now, strangely steady like the shaking past. That was not something that just slipped out in the moment. He leans back in the seat and stares at the roof. This is worse than I thought, he admits, voice hoarse, defeated. I knew there was tension, I did not know there was strategy. The word strategy hits because that is exactly what it was. I am done being their unpaid extra, I say, very calm. I cannot keep showing up to be edited around. The words feel heavy and final coming out of my mouth. Once they exist, it is pretty hard to stuff them back in. He looks at me like he is finally seeing the edge. What does that mean? He asks, fingers twisting together nervously. I stare at the school building shrinking in the mirror as we leave. First, it means the rules are about to change in that house. I do not spell out how far those changes will go yet. Back then, even I did not realize the full distance. But in that car, after that field, after that photo stunt, something in me closed for good, and they had no idea yet. I cancel the first payment while the house is still quiet. One click and the monthly charge for Luke's club disappears. Another click and Hannah's driving instructor loses their auto draft. My heart beats way too fast for something this boring on paper. I am not touching their food or the roof over their heads. I am not that cruel, and I keep repeating that in my mind. What I am slicing out are the extras I carried alone. The things no one noticed unless they went wrong or vanished. My husband walks into the kitchen as I end the last call. He catches the tail end of my "yes, please confirm the cancellation." His eyebrows pull together and he leans against the counter. "What are you canceling?" he asks, already bracing for impact. "The private coaching," I answer, keeping my tone low and measured. "And the advanced driving sessions and the extra streaming account." I line them up like bullet points so I do not wobble. He straightens slowly like he just heard a smoke alarm. "You cannot do that overnight," he protests, pushing his hair back. "They are counting on those things, they worked hard for them." He sounds more panicked than angry, which almost softens me. Almost, but not enough to make me back off. "They can count on their parents to pay," I answer, voice steady. "You and their mother, who both knew I existed." I slide my phone across the counter until it stops near him. The screenshot folder is already open, and he knows it. He hesitates, then taps one picture with a reluctant thumb. I watch the guilt move across his face as he scrolls again. He reaches the part where they planned graduation like a prank. He lets out a harsh breath and presses his fingers to his eyes. "This is not who I thought they were," he mutters, sounding old. "I knew they were hurt, I did not see this level." He taps the edge of the phone. "Aga. Inst the counter once. Let me talk to them before you pull everything." "Too late for that," I answer, and it feels brutal and clean. "The charges are gone, I will not restart them again. If you want those extras, you set them up in your name." I meet his eyes so he feels how serious I am. This punishes them more than it punishes her," he argues. "They will just hear that you yanked support because they pushed." He spreads his hands like he is weighing invisible pieces. "You are giving their mother proof you never cared." "That story is already written without my help," I remind him. "She has already told them I am temporary, you saw it. I am just lining my actions up with the part she wrote." It sounds colder out loud than it did in my head. He flinches at that, like I slapped him with logic. "So what, you just stop everything, no warning, nothing gradual?" I shrug because yes, that is exactly what I am doing. Gradual got me trampled, I am trying sudden for once. He pushes away from the counter and paces a short line. "You know they will go straight to her with this," he warns. "She will spin it as proof you only cared about control." The word spin makes me want to laugh and throw something. "Then maybe she can control the schedules and invoices now," I answer. "You know what this really is under all the drama? This is me stepping out of the role they mocked together." I tap the phone screen where their words are frozen in pixels. He stares at the screenshots one more time, then at me. "Are you sure you do not want to sleep on this?" he asks. I actually laugh, sharp, short, nothing amused in it. "I slept on it for years, I am wide awake." The front door slams before he can reply again. Luke's voice crashes down the hallway, loud and impatient. "Practice got moved earlier, I need a ride in 20. He tosses his backpack down and marches toward the kitchen. "I cannot take you," I say before he reaches for the fridge. The words feel strange, like they belong to someone tougher. He stops mid-step, confusion flickering across his face. "You always take me, coach needs us there early." "Ask your father," I reply, nodding toward the man beside me. My husband shifts, caught, clearly not ready for that handoff. "I have things to handle here, I am not available." It is technically true and completely new at the same time. Luke looks between us like this is some bad comedy bit. "Is this about yesterday?" he asks, shoulders pulling back slightly. Because that was not my fault, everyone wanted that picture. He tries to sound confident, but his eyes avoid mine. I am not discussing yesterday with you right now, I answer. This is larger than a single photograph on a field. I keep my voice even, and that seems to unnerve him more. You have two parents who can share these duties without me. He scoffs and swings his attention to his father instead. Can you please just drive, or I will be late again? My husband grabs his keys with a quick resigned motion. Go grab your stuff, I will pull the car around. Luke storms back down the hallway, muttering under his breath. I catch pieces like overreacting and dramatic and whatever. Every word lands, but not the way they used to land. I feel irritated, not shattered, which surprises me. You dropped that on him pretty hard, my husband says quietly. He does not sound entirely against it, just spooked. I shrug and lean back against the sink, crossing my arms. He is old enough to plan a stunt, he is old enough for fallout. They leave and the house falls into a weird, tense silence. I grab a stack of envelopes from the drawer, bills and receipts. On each one I underline my name where it appears alone. I am making a list of everything I carry by myself. Halfway through, Hannah drifts into the kitchen, scrolling her phone. She pauses when she sees the pile of paperwork and my pen. What are you doing? She asks, half curious, half suspicious. I flip one envelope around so she can read the header. This is your tutoring account, I tell her, tapping the corner. It charges my card every week without fail. I slide another paper over with the streaming subscription highlighted. This is the service you and your friends use daily. She glances down, then back up at me with narrowed eyes. Are you trying to make me feel guilty? She asks. She crosses her arms and leans on one hip, defensive stance ready. Because no one forced you to sign up for that stuff. You are right, I answer, and her eyebrows jump at that. No one forced me, and no one respected it either. So I am opting out of anything that requires my separate card. I circle my name once more and let the silence stretch. Her face goes red, then pale, then red again in quick swings. You cannot just stop like that, school starts in a week. Everyone already picked their schedules, I will look stupid. There it is, the real panic, not out learning but about image. You can keep the support if they cover the cost, I say. Talk to your father, talk to your mother, work it out. My money and time are no longer automatic for people insulting me. I do not raise my voice, and that steady tone rattles her. So you are punishing us because you felt left out, she snaps. She gestures toward the living room, where photos sit in frames. You got plenty of moments, this is one ceremony, one day. Her voice cracks on the last word, and that tells me a lot. I almost bite back what I really want to say. That this is not about a single afternoon on a field. That this is about constant jabs and a group chat full of poison. Instead, I pick a smaller target that still matters. I saw messages, I tell her, watching her posture stiffen. Including comments you made about me with your mother watching. Her mouth opens, then closes, then opens again without sound. I can see the exact instant she realizes which laptop I used. You had no right to read that, she finally gets out. She jabs a finger toward me, hand shaking slightly. That was private, you invaded my privacy, that is messed up. Her outrage is loud enough to cover the fear under it. You are right again, I answer, and her jaw drops. I should not have read it, and I still did that. I am not proud of that choice, but I am glad I know. Because knowing changes my behavior, and that part is not negotiable. She stares at me like I just spoke another language entirely. You act like we bullied you or something, she scoffs. It was just venting, everyone complains about adults in chats. She tosses her hair back like the conversation is beneath her. You called me a housekeeper who wanted a trophy, I remind her. You planned how to embarrass me, you joked about cutting me out. I do not shout it, I just list it like items in a case. You did not vent, you strategized, and you knew exactly who watched. Her defensive expression flickers for half a second, guilt peeking out. Then she recovers and rolls her eyes again like a reflex. Whatever, you are being dramatic, this is all in your head. She snatches her phone off the counter and storms toward her room. By the way, I call after her and she freezes halfway. The tutoring payment stopped this morning, so plan around that. Her shoulders tense, but she does not turn around, just keeps walking. The slam of her door feels like the end of the first round. That night, the four of us sit at the table again. The air feels thick, like an argument waiting for ignition. Luke pokes at his food in short, impatient jabs. Hannah keeps checking her phone under the table every minute. I heard from your coach, my husband starts clearing his throat. He mentioned your extra sessions might pause for a while. He glances at me, then back at the kids, working his courage up. We need to talk about how support works in this house. Luke drops his fork and stares straight at me, not his father. You told him to call, did you? Did you tell him to guilt trip me? His voice rises with each word, already on the edge of shouting. I keep my eyes on my plate because if I look up I might explode. No one asked him to do anything, my husband answers, firm. He reached out because he cares about your progress. We told him we need to revisit finances and responsibilities. He forces the words out carefully, like stepping across thin ice. So what, we lose everything because she got her feelings hurt, Luke snaps. He points at me like I am something on a menu he did not order. She is not even the one who signed me up for half this. He leans back in his chair, arms crossed, waiting for backup. I handled the invoices, the rides, the schedule, I remind him. I covered late fees when you forgot forms, I dealt with reminders. I finally look up and meet his eyes head on. I did the invisible work that made the visible parts possible. He flinches, then doubles down like teenagers do when cornered. You chose to, he fires back, cheeks hot, voice shaking. No one begged you, you were trying to act important. Hannah snorts softly, and I see his shoulders relax at her support. There is a moment, a tiny fork in the road, where I could beg. I could explain the love under every ride and bill and form. I could remind them of sick days and late nights and comfort. Instead, I decide to lean fully into the boundary I already drew. You are right, I say, and both kids blink in surprise. I chose to, and I am choosing not to anymore. I am not your automatic driver, planner, or personal assistant. I am your father's partner, and my energy is not endless. My husband watches them, then me, like he is tracking a storm. This is not about revenge, he adds, trying to soften the blow. It is about respect and contribution, and things have been one-sided. He glances at the kids like he wants them to see him clearly. Hannah laughs once, short and harsh, no humor in it. So what do you want? A thank you card, a speech, a statue? She shoves her chair back an inch, ready to bolt if needed. This whole thing feels like you want us to grovel. I want basic courtesy, I answer, feeling my voice shake now. And I want my work to match the reality of this family. When you tell people I am just some woman living here, I believe you, and I adjust how much of myself I pour in. They both go quiet at that, just for a moment. You know that pause when someone hears themselves reflected back. For a second I think maybe something cracked through the fog. Then Luke launches into the next hit. This is exactly what Mom said you would do, he blurts. He jabs a finger at the table for emphasis, face flushed. She told us you would bail when it stopped being convenient. He looks almost triumphant, saying it out loud in front of me. My husband actually flinches at that, like someone punched him. She really said that, he asks, voice dropping to a dangerous low. Luke realizes he messed up and looks away fast. He stares at the wall instead, lips pressed tight together. I tuck that moment into my memory, like evidence for later. Not the quote, but the way my husband heard it himself. Because this is not just me versus two angry teenagers. This is a whole story taught to them by an adult who knew better. Here is how this works now, I say, choosing each word slowly. You need rides, ask one of your parents, not me by default. You want extras that cost money, talk to the people who share your last name. You treat me like a household employee, you get employee boundaries. Hannah stands up so fast her chair screeches against the floor. You know what, you can keep your money, she hisses. I would rather walk than act grateful to you for basic stuff. Her hands shake, and that is the only honest thing in the room. Good, I answer, and my voice shocks even me with how flat it is. Walking builds character, and it does not charge my card. That line is petty, I know, and I regret it the instant it lands. But I am tired of being the only one swallowing things. She storms down the hallway, footsteps pounding like a drumline. A second later, her door slams and something thuds against the wall. Luke stays seated, staring at his plate like it personally failed him. My husband watches him with a mix of fear and anger. You still have two adults here who care about you, my husband says. His voice is tight, controlled, nothing warm at the edges. But you do not get to spit on one and expect endless help. He looks exhausted, but there is steel there I have not seen before. Luke's eyes flick to him, surprised by the firmness for once. So you are on her side now, he asks, lower, more dangerous. I guess Mom was right about you too then. That last sentence slices the air more than any shout. You do not get to throw that around, my husband warns. His jaw clenches and his hands curl into fists on the table. You want to be mad at me, fine, I can take it. But do not turn me into some villain because it is easier than growing up. Luke stands up slowly, chair scraping, eyes bright and wet. You are ruining everything right before I leave, he mutters. He looks at me for half a second and there is hurt there. Then it hardens into something else, something meaner. You know what you are, he asks, voice suddenly very calm. You are the woman who moved in and acted like this was her show. You share a bed with my father, that is it for me. Each word lands sharp, deliberate, no teenage wobble left. My chest actually hurts at those words, like physical pain. Not because I believed I was his mother in some delusional way, but because I did everything they told me a parental figure should do. And this is the label he keeps for me after all of it. I take a slow breath because shouting would feel good and useless. Thank you for clearing that up, I answer quietly, voice steady. That helps me understand exactly what role you see me in. It makes every decision from here much easier for me. He snorts and grabs his backpack from the corner without looking back. I am going to Mom's this weekend, he throws over his shoulder. She will not punish me like this because of some stupid feelings. The front door slams and the house vibrates for a second. My husband sags in his chair once the sound fades. He scrubs his face with both hands, breathing hard, not speaking. For a minute we just sit there, two adults in a war zone. Then he looks at me, eyes tired, voice hoarse. I will cover what I can, he says almost to himself. I will talk to their mother about the rest, though I doubt she helps. He stares at the doorway where Luke was standing a moment ago. I cannot ask you to undo what you just did, and I will not. I realized then that I needed to hear that last part most. Not the promise about Moan. Though that matters too. But the simple acknowledgement that my line in the sand stays. Because once you finally draw it, going back would break something deeper. The house feels different after that dinner, like gravity shifted. I can feel their anger in every closed door and sharp footstep. I can also feel a strange, quiet place opening up in me. Not peace exactly, but the start of not begging for a place at my own table. The first clue is the suitcase by the door. Hannah drags it out before breakfast, wheels bumping every step. Luke tosses his duffel on top of it and wipes his hands. They both act like today is guaranteed, like nothing can touch it. Car S coming at 10, Hannah announces, chin up, voice bright. She promised no last-minute changes this time. She avoids looking at me, but the sentence is aimed here. I sip my coffee anyway because I have learned to stay quiet. My husband scrolls through his phone beside the sink. Text your mom a quick reminder, he tells them, thumb hovering. Traffic's bad on weekends, make sure she left on time. His tone is casual, but his eyes flick toward me once. Hannah snatches her phone and starts typing fast. She knows, she mutters, fingertips moving like she is casting a spell. We planned this for weeks, she would not just forget. Luke nods quickly, as if agreeing out loud makes it real. In the middle of that, my husband's phone buzzes on the counter. One sharp vibration, then another, then it goes silent. He glances down, and his expression changes in a heartbeat. His jaw tightens and his shoulders slump a fraction. I see the name flash on his screen before he tilts it. He reads the message twice, eyes scanning quickly, mouth set. He does not say anything right away, which tells me enough. The back of my neck prickles because I know where this goes. What Hannah asks, catching the shift faster than Luke does. She steps closer, hand out, trying to see the screen. Is she stuck in traffic? Did she leave early? What? Her voice thins out on that last word, already afraid. My husband locks the phone and sets it face down. He takes a long breath and looks at both of them. She had something come up, he begins, and they both stiffen. She will not make it this weekend, she wants to reschedule. Silence falls hard, a different kind than we usually get. No sarcasm, no snappy answers, just a stunned blank. Hannah's hand drops to her side, fingers curling into a fist. Luke blinks rapidly, like he cannot quite process the words. She what? Hannah asks, voice almost too soft to hear. Her face has gone completely still, which is never a good sign. She just texted, that is it, no call, no nothing. She takes a step back, then another, like she has been hit. Luke grabs the phone off the counter before anyone stops him. He unlocks it with quick practiced motions, scrolling furiously. Emergency at work, he reads out loud, voice going flat. Can we move the trip to next month? Love you both. He stares at that last part like it is a personal insult. That is it, he says, holding the phone up. No explanation, no I am sorry, just maybe next time. He tosses the phone back on the counter, too hard. My husband catches it before it slides to the floor. I am sure she will call later, he offers, trying to soothe. She might be in the middle of something right now. The words sound weak even as they leave his mouth. You are defending her, Hannah snaps, eyes blazing now. After everything you say about commitment, you defend this. She points at the phone like it is a weapon. She bails, and somehow we are supposed to understand. I stay by the table, hands wrapped around my mug. I am not jumping into this, I tell myself firmly. This is not my mess to clean up, not this time. Still, watching it unfold hits somewhere deep and ugly. Luke grabs his duffel and yanks the zipper hard. What do we even do now? He asks, not looking at anyone. I told everyone at practice I would be gone all weekend. The humiliation in his voice is stronger than the anger. You two can still do something, my husband suggests quickly. Movie, bowling, whatever, we can make the day work. He glances at me, almost a question hanging there. I keep my face blank because they did not invite me. We wanted her, Hannah bites out, cutting him off. She presses her knuckles to her mouth and laughs once. It is not a happy sound, more of a sharp, broken one. We did not plan some pity day with you as a backup. That one hits him, I can see it in his shoulders. He looks at me again like he is asking for help. For once, I let the silence answer for both of us. He swallows hard and turns back to the kids. She is your mother, yes, he says slowly, picking his words. But she also has a pattern, and you know that. He meets each of their eyes, not flinching this time. You keep betting everything on the one person who cancels. Do not talk about her like that, Hannah snaps immediately. Her loyalty kicks in fast, automatic, fierce. She has stuff you do not understand, she tries her best. She folds her arms tight across her chest, armor back up. Luke does not jump to defend as fast as she does. He just stares at the suitcase by the door, expression locked. You told me to take off work for this, he mutters. I turned down extra hours because she insisted on this date. Hannah rounds on him instantly, flaring at the wrong target. Do not start, she warns, voice shaking with rage. Do not make this into her being selfish, you know better. He lifts his hands, palms out, like he is backing away. I am not saying she does not care, he protests. I am saying she could have called, not just texted. He glances toward me, then looks away again, embarrassed. I am tired of having to defend her every single time. That sentence hangs there, heavy, more honest than usual. Hannah blinks at him, thrown by the deviation from script. You sound just like her, she accuses, jabbing toward me. She loves when you doubt Mom, she wins when you do this. It lands that way in her head, I know that. In her mind, everything is one long competition between us. I want to tell her I was never playing that game. Instead, I force myself to stay quiet a little longer. Luke shoulders past her, grabs his sneakers from the mat. Whatever, he mutters, voice low, almost dead. I am going outside, I cannot breathe in here. He shoves the door open and steps out onto the porch. Hannah stays frozen, then swipes angrily at her eyes. She will call, she insists again, more to herself now. She would not just drop us like that, not for no reason. The cracks in her certainty are visible, but she clings anyway. My husband reaches out like he might touch her arm. She jerks away, flinching like his hand burns. Do not, she warns, voice tight, eyes shiny and furious. If you start trash talking her, I am leaving right now. I was not going to trash talk her, he answers softly. I was going to ask if you want breakfast before we figure things out. His tone is painfully gentle, like talking to a wounded animal. She shakes her head hard and storms down the hallway instead. Her door shuts more quietly than usual, which somehow hurts more. The house settles around the shock, like dust after a crash. My husband exhales a deep, tired breath and looks at me. You are awfully quiet, he observes, one corner of his mouth twitching. I am trying not to say anything I cannot undo, I admit. I set my mug down before my hand gives away the shaking. You want honesty though, I ask, and he nods once. This is the exact storm I was trying to step out of. He leans against the counter, shoulders slumped, head bowed. I know, he says, voice rough, throat tight. I also know you are the only one who has never canceled on them. He looks toward the porch where Luke sits hunched on the steps. That part stings because it is true, and I hate that. I think of every early pickup, every late-night drive. Every time I rearranged work because someone forgot a permission slip. They remember none of that when they talk about who shows up. I am not swooping in to save the day, I answer slowly. She built herself up as the hero for this weekend. I am not interested in stepping into her costume again. I cross my arms, trying to hold myself together. He nods, accepts that, does not argue for once. Still, he says quietly, eyes back on the porch. If he sits out there alone much longer, he will implode. He glances at me again, hopeful, guilty, desperate. I do not move right away, and I need you to know that. For once, I let him sit with his child's pain without me. Part of me thinks, let her handle the fallout she created. Then I catch Luke's profile through the window, and my resolve wobbles. He is picking at a rip in his shoe, jaw clenched tight. Every few seconds he checks his phone, then locks it again. He looks older and smaller at the same time, if that makes sense. Like a kid stuck between wanting his mom and hating that want. I will sit with him, I hear myself say finally. I am not promising anything more than that right now. My husband gives a small relieved nod, eyes shining a little. Thank you, he answers, simple, no extra words. I slide the door open and the warm air hits my face. Luke does not look back, but he hears it and goes still. I sit down on the top step, leaving a careful gap between us. For a few seconds, neither of us says anything at all. She is not coming, he says first, voice hoarse, unreadable. He keeps his eyes on the yard, not on me. I know she wrote next month, but that means nothing. His thumb drags over his phone screen, leaving smudges. I saw the message, I answer, keeping my voice even. I also saw a lot of other messages I should not have seen. He winces slightly at that reminder, Udders curling in. Sometimes you need all of it to see the pattern. You think she does not care, he snaps, turning toward me. His eyes flash defense ready, like muscle memory. You think she woke up and said, let me hurt my kids. He leans forward, elbows on his knees tense. I think she is who she is, I respond. And I think you keep betting against history because it is easier. He opens his mouth to argue, then shuts it, grinding his teeth. He goes back to picking at that ripped shoe. He stays quiet for a while, then the fight drains a little. You really stopped coming to my games, he says quietly. You just disappeared from the stands like it was nothing. He finally looks at me, eyes searching, hurt masked with anger. That was not nothing, I answer, and the words scrape. I sat in those stands for years, cheering my lungs out. Then I read you calling me a stranger you had to tolerate. And I watched you cut me out of photos in front of hundreds. He looks away, cheeks flushed, jaw tight. That was just me being stupid, he mutters. I did not think you would see those messages. His voice drops on that last part, full of shame. I should not have seen them, I agree, and that part matters. I crossed a line looking at that chat, I own that. I am not proud of that choice, but I cannot unsee it. And once you know someone's private script, it changes everything. He lets out a bitter little laugh, no humor in it. So you punished me, he says, not quite a question. You took back rides and money and support because of words. He wipes his nose with the back of his hand, annoyed at himself. I protected myself, I correct, even though it sounds like spin. I realized I was pouring energy into people who saw me as furniture. I am not judging you for having loyalty to your mom. I am just refusing to keep auditioning for a role you reject. He leans back, looks up at the sky, curses under his breath. You are not furniture, he says finally, voice rough. You are more like the person who actually shows up. He huffs out a breath, annoyed with himself for saying it. That is kind of worse, I admit, giving a humorless smile. Because you got all the benefit of that and still pushed me away. I felt stupid for caring more than you wanted me to. That feeling is not something I am signing up for again. He is quiet for a long time after that. I think he might get up and walk away. Instead, his shoulders sag and his voice drops. I told my friends about this trip, he says softly. I nod because I remember myself at his age. How everything felt public even when it was private. How many of them knew your stepmom organized your last tournament, I ask. He snorts, startled, knowing what I am pointing at. None, he admits, rubbing his palms on his jeans. You did that because you wanted to, not for credit. He glances sideways at me, almost wary. I guess I treated you like you wanted a medal. I wanted to matter, I say, and that is the raw truth. Not more than your mom, not instead of her, just at all. I wanted to be more than the person who carried your things. And I realized you were determined to prove I was not. He inhales sharply, eyes stingy, jaw clenched. You did matter, he says, and his voice cracks. I was just, I do not know, angry all the time. At you, at dad, at her, at everyone. I believe him, and also not fully, if that makes sense. I know he felt something, and I know he weaponized it anyway. Both things can be real at once, that is what makes it messy. That is also why this conversation hurts but feels necessary. The door behind us creaks and Hannah steps out. Her eyes are puffy and she pretends not to care. She hovers in the doorway, arms folded tight, shoulders rigid. You two out here trash-talking mom together, she asks sharply. No, Luke answers before I can speak. We are talking about how I acted like a jerk. He wipes his face quickly and glares at her. You want to yell, yell at me, not at her. That throws her off more than anything I could have said. She blinks, scanning his face, then mine. What happened to you, she asks, half mocking, half rattled. They cancel one trip and suddenly you change your mind. It is not one trip, he fires back, rising to his feet. You know that, you are just better at rewriting the story. He steps closer to her, eyes flashing with a different anger. I am tired of picking a side that never stays. Her mouth opens, ready with the usual defense script. The words stall there, and I can actually see her swallow them. She is doing her best, she insists again, but softer now. She just has stuff we do not know, you know that. I am sure she does, I say, keeping my tone gentle. And I am not competing with her, I am really not. I am just tired of being the target when she drops the ball. That is not my job, and it never should have been. Han now looks at me like she is seeing a stranger and a mirror. You read our messages, she says again, accusation still there. You saw ugly moments that were not meant for you. Her voice wobbles and she presses her lips together. I did, I admit, and there is no way around that. I wish I had not, but I did, and it changed me. It made me realize how far you were willing to go. And it made me stop pretending I was not bleeding from it. She stares at the yard, jaw working, eyes shining again. We were mad, she mutters, kicking the step with her heel. We felt like you were taking space that belonged to her. We pushed you away because we could. That last part lands blunt, awful, honest. I let the words sink in instead of jumping on them. Yeah, I say quietly after a moment. You could and you did, over and over. She looks up, almost panicked now. You stopped caring after that, she accuses, voice sharper. You pulled money and time and all of it just like that. You proved we were right about you leaving. I did not stop caring, I say, and that one hurts. I stopped volunteering for a role you mocked in private. I still keep food here, still keep the house running, you know that. I just stopped funding a version of me you hated. Luke sinks back onto the step, elbows on his knees again. So where does that leave us? He asks, voice small. He looks between me and Hannah like we are judges. Are you just going to be Dad's roommate now? There it is, that word again, but it hits different now. This time it is not thrown like a stone, more like a question. I am your father's wife, I answer, choosing that word on purpose. And I am someone who loved you like my own for years. Both of them flinch at that, tiny matching movements. I think they expected anger, not that soft, painful truth. You did, Hannah says reluctantly, almost whispering. You showed up when she did not, I know that. I am not asking you to call me Mom, I tell them. I am done trying to pull that out of anyone's mouth. What I am asking for is really simple. If you want me in your life, you talk to me like I exist. Hannah's eyes fill again and she swipes at them fast. So what, we say thank you and it fixes everything, she asks. Her voice is rough, defensive, but there is real fear under it. I do not even know where to start with that. You start where you are, I answer, because anything else is a lie. Maybe you start with I am mad, or I am ashamed, or I am confused. You start with not using me as a punching bag for someone else's mistakes. I can handle anger, I cannot handle being deliberately erased. Luke stares at his hands for a long moment. You want something from us, he says, nodding to himself. Not money, not chores, not some big performance. You want actual honesty, not just whatever story we tell her. Yes, I say, relieved he finally put it into words. I want to hear it from you, not through a screen. You mad at me, bring it to my face, not to a group chat. I cannot fix what I do not know about. He nods again slowly, like he is swallowing that idea. Then he clears his throat and meets my eyes. I am sorry, he says, voice hoarse but clear. Not for being loyal to her, but for making you pay for it. I did not expect that to hit as hard as it does. My throat tightens and my eyes sting instantly. I bite the inside of my cheek just to keep control. You do not owe me a perfect apology, I manage. He gives a shaky laugh, wiping his face again. Trust me, that is the only kind I have, he jokes weakly. Then he sobers, leaning forward. Will you come to my next game if I text you myself? That question knocks the air out of me more than any insult. Not because of the game itself, but because of the if. If you text respectfully and give me the details, yes, I answer. And if you cut me again in public, that is the last one. Fair, he nods, almost relieved there are rules. I can work with that, I think. He glances at Hannah like he is inviting her in too. She shifts her weight, chewing on her lip. I have a performance next month, she says quietly. She stares at the railing, not at me. It is not a big thing, not like graduation or whatever. Her voice tightens on that word, and we both hear it. You want me there? I ask, not rescuing her from the question. Her shoulders hunch like she wants to disappear. I want someone there who will not leave halfway, she answers finally. She still cannot say my role, but the request is clear. If I come, I am there as me, I say. Not as a stand-in for her, not as some secret backup. I will clap for you because I care, not to prove a point. If you can live with that, then yes, I will be there. She nods, blinking hard. You can sit on the aisle, she mutters, like logistics matter. In case you want to escape if I suck. A tiny crooked smile tugs at her mouth. Despite everything. You will not, I reply, and this time I let warmth show. You never do, even when you are sure you will. She shrugs, but the compliment lands somewhere inside. I can tell because she does not toss it back in my face. The front door opens behind us, and my husband peers out. He takes in the three of us sitting there, eyes moving fast. He does not step outside, just leans on the frame. Everything okay out here? He asks carefully. No, Luke answers, then adds, but maybe it will be. He stands and stretches, bones cracking, tension easing a little. I am going to call coach, see if I can grab a shift. His voice is steadier now, more focused. Hannah wipes her eyes again and straightens up. I need to fix my stupid mascara, she mutters. She brushes past me to go inside but pauses. Thanks for not saying I told you so, she adds quietly. I blink, caught off guard by the gratitude. I have thought it, I admit, because we are doing honesty. But saying it out loud would just make you hate me more. And I am sort of trying to avoid that from now on. She lets out a tiny snort, half a laugh, half a sigh. Good plan, she says, then disappears into the house. The door shuts gently behind her, no slam this time. That small change feels bigger than any speech. My husband steps fully onto the porch now. He looks from Luke's retreating back to me. You okay? He asks, voice low, careful, serious. I let out a breath I did not realize I was holding. I am not their mother, I answer, and the words do not slice. Maybe I never will be, and maybe that is fine. I am the person who stayed, and they finally noticed a little. It is not a victory exactly, but it is not a loss either. He sits beside me on the top step. For a while we just listen to the muffled sounds inside. No yelling, no doors banging, just normal house noise. It feels strange and fragile and almost hopeful. Do you regret stepping back? He asks after a while. He does not look at me, just watches the yard. I mean the money, the driving, all of it. You could have kept the peace by staying the same. I regret cutting so late, I answer, and that surprises him. I should have drawn lines years ago, not after everything snapped. I let them build that story because I kept giving with no limit. I am not doing that again, no matter how sweet today feels. He nods slowly, accepting that, respecting it. They asked for you, he says, still sounding amazed. Not me, not her, not some hypothetical better version of you. Just you exactly as you're right now. I look at the empty suitcase by the door through the glass. The trip did not happen, the big promise collapsed in a text. Still somehow, something else took its place on these steps. Not mom, not nothing, something real in the middle. Later that night, my phone buzzes on the nightstand. I pick it up and stare at the screen for a second. New message from Luke, not from any group thread. Game next Friday at 6 if you want to come. A minute later, another notification pops up under it. This one is from Hannah, short and awkward and brave. Performance calendar attached, she writes, then adds, no pressure. I laugh softly because that is her version of an apology. I do not screenshot their words this time. I just read them, breathe, and let them sink in. They still do not call me anything special, and maybe they never will. But for the first time in a long time, I do not feel like a ghost at my own table.